coffee grown in India is landing in more American coffee cups.
One of them is the Paul John Caffeine company that we discovered.
And we both enjoyed 3 of their coffee flavors: Smell of Rain, Caffeine Bliss, and Indian Summer for breakfast.
And we used one of them in 2 Jetsetter cocktails, the Espresso Cherry Martini and the Espresso Spanish Martini.
And we sipped on them while we learned about this new company and the age-old Indian tradition from the founder of the company, Shonali Paul.
She is American, originally from India, and now living in Hawaii.
It's morning for me, so I'm still on my regular coffee, but I'm drinking Smell of Rain, which is the chicory blend coffee that we have. So it's my go-to every morning.
Oh, perfect. And in case you guys haven't guessed, it's coffee that we're talking about. Yeah. And just so you know, I use the Indian Summer in mine, and it's a bold blend, but what I love about it, because I'm not really a bold person, in coffee wise, but it's so smooth and creamy. It's just like perfect. I love it.
Oh, I love to hear that. Like, we tend to roast on the lighter side generally, and Indian Summer's our darkest roast. So even our dark roast is not, super dark. It's just enough to give you those notes of like caramel and molasses that people who drink dark roast coffee like, but not the burnt, bitter aftertaste, that generally does come from overly roasted coffee.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's chocolatey, it's caramelly, like you said, smooth and creamy. I mean, it's just delicious. So I'm loving it. Yeah.
I use the same one too, so
nice.
It was perfect. Very, very nice. Shonali explained how the Indian climate and techniques give Paul John coffee its unique taste with some similar techniques you find in wine vineyards.
Also, listen to Shonali explain how these Indian-grown beans stay fresh even as they're transported to Florida for U.S. distribution.
But how would you say it's different than like regular American Starbucks kinds of coffees?
Yeah, so most people don't even know India grows coffee, but India is like the 7th largest producer of coffee in the world. And when I say Indian coffee, sometimes to people, they think it's more of like, flavored coffee versus coffee that's actually grown in India. And what's different about the coffee is just that it's Indian grown coffee. And Indian grown coffee is naturally, just because of the topography of the region, it is shade grown. Just like, my background, you can kind of see that this is just naturally how coffee estates are in India. There's no other way you're going to find it. They are just shade grown, which allows the bean to be naturally, ripe and, get all the flavors that you want without that harsh sunlight and, without forcing it to ripen too fast. And then it's handpicked, so you leave the beans on as long as it needs to be on the plant, and pick only the ripe ones. And all that just has such a unique flavor in the bean that we finally drank that gives it a unique flavor profile.
It really jumped out. Is that what you're trying to do, or is that what Indian beans do?
Yeah, I think so. And, because it's grown with a lot of other plants, so like papayas, avocados, there's a fruit called chiku. So, a lot of different fruit trees as well. Pepper, cardamom are very common, other products that are grown on the estates. So all that impacts the soil and gives, all these flavors to the coffee that will give the coffee a little bit more of that punch, that you mentioned, John, and things like, caramel and toffee, very well developed flavors kind of come out of that.
Susan, what's interesting is we talk about terroir on wine, and you're an expert on that. It's kind of interesting how coffee ties into that.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things for me, all 3 of the ones that we tried, they're all very smooth and creamy, and they're very fresh kind of tasting.
Yeah. Fresh is something that we are trying very hard. So most Indian coffees that you may have tried, if you have tried Indian coffee, is probably something that you have gotten at the Indian grocery store that was roasted in India and then imported to the US. Whereas we roast it here in the US. So the beans are freshly roasted coffee, and you won't get coffee that is roasted more than 2 weeks. past your order date. And that's just something that we're really passionate about, because the quality of coffee starts to deteriorate the minute you roast it. Like once you start to do that, it starts to go down. Coffee doesn't go bad, it just doesn't taste as great as it should. And like wine, it's very temperamental. A lot of things can make it change. And so if we can control as much as possible when it comes to like the roasting and the freshness, then we know our customers are going to get the best quality cup.
Right now, Paul John Coffee is only available online. Here is their website that you can order from.
It is pauljohncaffeine.com. And soon, Shonali says, Paul John Coffee will be available in K-Cups for your Keurig coffee maker.
And they're also working on future distribution to local stores.
More on the Paul John Indian Caffeine Company coming soon.